Hey folks, it's not just me that's back.
Today's video is brought to you by the generosity of Newbold targets. Newbold targets are self-sealing reactive polymer targets that act like steel targets for training and practice, but are safer than steel. They allow bullets to pass completely through the target without ricochet or lead splatter. Check out their links in the description and thank them for bringing us today's video.
Hey, thanks for joining us again on the Neil's Suck Less Challenge. I really appreciate you guys coming along with me. Just as a recap, I am doing this solely to help myself suck less in Gabe White's class in about 4 weeks. I'm about 4 weeks out. Don't know how well I'm going to perform in this. I know last year I did go to that class and I earned a dark pin. Felt like I kind of skated in under the radar to get that, and so I want to suck less. I want to perform better, but perform better doesn't rhyme with any of the days of the week. So Suck Less Saturday is what it is, right? So we're having a little bit of fun. I talked to Gabe White about this himself. He gave me some stuff. He was very gracious in allowing me to send this out to people, and I really appreciate that. So he's given me some stuff to work on, and I'm going to share it with you. I want you to come along. If you want to come along, great. Let's have some fun. Before I get into the lesson this week, one thing that came up was I had been using a stock VP9 because this one was off getting a little special work done to it, okay? And somebody, no names, but he's got the same last name as me, so he's my brother, made fun of me and said, hey, why don't you just do the whole thing with that gun? You're not wrong, Steve. Here's the challenge. This is the carry gun that I carry every day that I use. I've put in a ton of work with this thing, and I'm really doing this challenge for me to be better in Gabe's class. So while I'm not going to do the rest of this with a stock VP9 without my sight and without my SRO and without my neat Gripman grips and without my nice trigger and all of that kind of stuff, I totally get it. That might be something we do in the future, but for this one, this is the gun I'm taking to that class, and I want to perform better with it. So that's what we're going to do. Anyway, so thanks for that, giving me new content for next time. This week, what I want to talk about is, so far we've worked on draws to first shot. I want you to work at your pace, not at mine. So if I'm working at a .9 or a 1.0 and your wheels are falling off at 1.5, then set your time for you. This is not about you performing at my level. And heck, it works the other way too. If the wheels don't fall off to you till 0.6 and they're falling off for me at 0.8, you work where you are, and it's about you sucking less or getting better, okay? So work at your pace on the draws. I want 10 nice easy ones where you see the dot every time. I want 10 about 2/10 above your time. I want 10 at your time, and I want 10 below your time. So you're going to push yourself to get better. And what you'll find is as the weeks continue, you're going to find that pretty quick when you're at your below time, it's easy. And that's when it's time to move. Then you just slide everything down on the scale, start back over, and just keep going, okay? So I want those 40 draws every day that you practice. If you can practice 5 days a week, great. This isn't going to be a 10 minutes a day kind of thing like we had in the FBI challenge. I'm sorry. This is going to take a little bit more because these are some more stringent goals that I've got. So that's why I'm doing this. It's probably going to be a half hour a day when it gets to the end. But last week we introduced the 3 triggers, which was you can use your Mantis for this, for the compressed surprise break. You start with your gun trigger at the wall, you start with the finger off the trigger, and then you start with the finger at the high register. If you've been doing that, you already know what that is. Give me 10 at each one of those. So just keep working that. The secret is the pinkies. If you really focus and isolate those pinkies in there, you can move from here to here without that muzzle moving. See, if I push out and I really engage, you barely see that thing move. And I'm staring at the camera, so it's kind of hard, but you can barely see that thing move, okay? Now this week, what I want you to do is I want to introduce sights meet trigger. This is another one of Gabe's drills that he does in the class, and you can do this dry. So the way that this works, here, let me show you. I've cleared this gun. This is my dry fire mag with my rail on it. I found my Mantis, but I can't use it because the phone that I connect my Mantis to is what I'm recording on. So I'm gonna figure that out. We'll get there, but this gun, here, one more time, is a clear gun. I am in my basement dry fire dojo, so I can fire in 360 degrees without any trouble, and we're safe. I've got my SRO on here. Don't know if you can see that dot, but it's like looking through the windshield of my car. I love this thing. I get that you may not have that, but I love this thing. John's a big Hollison guy. This is where it's at for me. I pick up this dot really easy, and it works well for me. So let's talk about sights meet trigger. Sights meet trigger is something that you kind of have to set up, and it's really about target transitions. One of Gabe's drills, and this is not the target, this is the target. This is a target from our friends at Baker Targets that they sent over because it looks cool on my wall, right? And we use these in some of our classes. But on Gabe's target, you have to, in one of the drills, you put 2 here and then you got to put 1 up here. So it's a failure to stop drill is what it is. So there's a target transition. So I'm moving from one target to another target, and I've got to figure that out. How do we do that in dry fire, you ask? Sights meet trigger. Thanks, Gabe White. So the way we set this thing up is we take our gun and we pull the trigger and then we pin it back. So hold that thing back. Move your slide just that far and it'll reset that trigger, and I'm going to show you. Can you hear that click? That means that the trigger reset, and boom, it'll go off again. Just that much. Click, bang. Click, bang. Now, we don't want to be pinning the trigger in live fire. This is not what this is about. This is for dry fire only, so we want to be kind of careful with this so we don't ingrain this too much. But with it pinned back like that and the trigger reset, what I can do is practice a target transition. So I've got over on this wall here, I've got 2 targets, one above the other. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically pretend that I just pulled the trigger on the bottom target, then I'm going to move my eyes to the top target, then I'm going to follow it with the gun, then I'm going to reset and shoot. But I'm not going to do it in that order. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move my eyes, and as I'm moving the gun, I'm going to reset. So as soon as my dot settles on that other target, I can pull the trigger again. That's going to be more efficient. It's going to be more quick. So here's what it looks like. I just reset that trigger. So I'm down here, and I'm going to say it to myself. I'm going to say bang, like I just shot that first one. I'm not worried about recoil. That's sight meet trigger 2. See you next week. I'm going to say bang, and then I move my eyes. As the gun comes up, I reset it, and I'm ready to go as soon as I'm on that target. So that was a pretty slow one. So I'm going to go bang, and there. If I say bang twice for each one, maybe you can do that. Bang, bang. That quick. Bang, bang. The big thing here is don't wait till you're up to this target to let out and then shoot it. The big thing is to let it out in the movement. And it's going to be much more quick and much more efficient. So that's sights meet trigger. Give me about 20 of those a day. Just move up. Practice moving the eyes, then the gun. The eyes, then the gun. But in there, you're manipulating that trigger to let it out so it can reset. And through this, you can practice that. Does that make sense? I hope it does. I hope that you'll join us for the rest of this. I really hope that you'll come in and join us in the Active Self-Protection Dry Fire Challenge. That's the Facebook page where you can come in. You can talk to me, John, Steph, Brian Hill's in there, Scott Jelinski's in there. Some of the greatest shooters in the country are in there. It's a pretty cool group. There's some average Joes that you may not know their names that are great shooters that are happy to help. It's a lot of fun. It's a fun group to be in. We keep it pretty professional. Don't come in there and be all nasty. And if you want to come in, you got to answer the question of who the sponsor is, and Mantis pays the bills. Just answer Mantis. It's not that hard. Give me a smart aleck answer, and chances are I might not let you in. If you want to say somebody else's sponsor, I don't really care, but that's the answer. So I'm giving you the answer to the test. Do it. The biggest thing is go do some dry fire. Suck less next week than you did today. And that's what this is all about. I'm hoping in 4 weeks that I get to go to Gabe's class and show you how this all worked, and that I got a better pin and I finished better. But at the end of the day, focus on the process, not the result. This is where people struggle. They focus on the result. Did I drill a hole in that target or not? And if that is all you're focused on, you're not going to drill the hole where you want it. If you focus on a good solid grip, coming out, marrying up, getting a good press out, seeing my sights, and then pulling trigger, that's the process. So focus on the process. You will suck less. See you next week.